Welcome to my channel, Sailing Sugar Magnolia, where I'm documenting my global voyage countdown as I get ready to sail my Island Packet 420 around the world starting in 2030. All right, welcome back. Josh here on Sailing Vessel Sugar Magnolia. I'm going to pick up a little bit where I left off and share a little bit more about my backstory, kind of going to that moment where I kind of first decided that I wanted to return to living on a sailboat and trying to sail around the world to basically now being on the boat here in Virginia. So it really began in the probably 2018. My kids were starting to prepare to go off to college. And I was really just starting to kind of wonder what I might want to do with my life once they had gotten more independent. So my son and I decided to charter a sailboat in the Chesapeake for about 2 weeks. I just luckily found a Beneteau 32 footer, I think it was. So almost exactly the boat that I had lived on back in the late 1990s, sailing vessel Sunshine Daydream. And so it was basically that same boat. So I was very used to it and so forth. And so here's a picture of it at one of our first anchorages or two here. It was a great boat, perfect for what we wanted to do for just two of us. My son had actually never been sailing before. And so really wasn't exactly sure how much he would like it, but he ended up loving it. And here he is captaining the boat pretty soon afterwards. A lot of great nights, a little buggy, but after the sun went down, it was fine and cooled off. So we had a lot of great anchorages and so forth. And just a great time, both learning and sailing again for me in some ways. Here he is jumping in, getting in the water a little bit. And then my parents actually came down. And so that's my parents. And you can remember episode, when I was 6 months old, they've taken me sailing. And so here they are a little bit older here, me taking them sailing here on the Chesapeake. So that trip with my son was in July of 2022. So a couple of years into the pandemic. And it really just kind of, I think, got me to realize that I really did want to pursue this dream or return to pursuing this dream of sailing around the world. Within a year or so, in October of 2023, I decided to head down to the Annapolis sailboat show or boat show of that year. I hadn't been to the boat show in decades, probably. And so it was really the first time I decided to take real action, I think, to pursue taking this next dream. And believe it or not, I actually recorded a video of myself in my hotel room before I headed out to the boat show that year. So rather than me kind of explaining what was going on in my head back then, I thought I'd let myself back in October of 2023 explain more about what I was thinking and what I was about to begin.
Well, this is the beginning. About 3 years ago, I decided that I was going to start to figure out what the last part of my life here was going to be kind of about, and ultimately decided that I really still had this desire, is the best word I can come up with it, or passion, or drive, life drive to circumnavigate, which I think really began when I was much younger and was doing that sailing, and life kind of took me in a different direction, and now I'm kind of coming back to achieve that life goal. So I'm making this recording from, I think it's Middletown, Delaware, on my first trip down to the Annapolis boat show, sailboat show. This is very preliminary, but it could be the beginning. That's why I thought I'd make a recording here of the start. First stage is really just moving on to a sailboat again, living on a boat, getting building up some experience, and then ultimately try to find a way of getting the resources one needs and the time and the availability to be able to circumnavigate. So I wanted to make this recording just to have this kind of for myself. We'll see what ends up happening in terms of sharing it at some point. But I thought some people might actually be interested in this journey going from obviously on land here to getting on a sailboat and eventually sailing around the world. I should also mention that I recently changed jobs. I was going to say quit my job. I guess I kind of did. to start up my own independent consulting business, which I've done for a range of reasons. But one is that it will allow me to maybe get out there and do some more sailing. So with that, maybe I'll take a little more video here at the Annapolis Boat Show. But welcome to the start of the beginning.
So shortly after recording that video, I left the hotel and headed off to the Annapolis Boat Show. Ended up seeing a lot of awesome new boats, obviously all new boats there. This is the Sun Odyssey, you know. It says 41 or 410 on there. And it was a beautiful boat. The interior was just unbelievably impressive. So much space, modern design, and so forth. Now, I quickly saw the price tags of these boats, and it was way out of my even ballpark. These were probably $500,000 or more boats, brand new. And so the next thing I decided to do, taking two kind of major trips here. One I did combining actually a business trip a little bit with vacation. I was at a conference in Atlanta. Ended up deciding to rent a car down there and drive to Savannah, Georgia. And then basically just drove all the way up the coast, both stopping marinas, looking at boats, and also just locations, all the way back up to New York. And then the second trip I took a few months later was down in Florida. My parents spent some time down there, so I went down to visit them. And then also I rented a car and drove basically from the northern tip of Florida all the way down to close to Miami, ended up in Fort Pierce down there. So taking those trips, I spent a lot of time both looking at used sailboats as well as looking at locations where I might want to be, stationed long term. And so looking at the boats, I'm not going to go through all the pictures. I saw probably 30 sailboats maybe over that time period. But really what it did was help me better understand and kind of refine the key things that I was going to want to be looking for in the boat that I purchased. And some of these might seem minor, but really were important to me. And also I knew from my prior time living on a boat how important they can be. So for example, the shower. Having a full stand-up shower is really important to me. I want to be able to shower on board whenever I want to. And a lot of the boats had showers going on more like this, where you had a smaller area that maybe sit down in, and it was kind of part of the bathroom. And so having a completely separate stand-up shower became actually one of my really important criteria. Also, the keel. This became a big safety factor for me. Lots of different keels. These are different kinds of full keels boats here, some lighter weight keels. But I ended up really feeling like a full keel, and this is actually not an Island Packet, but a Hans Christensen, I believe, but a very similar full keel where you had that full keel that runs from the bow back to the stern, including kind of covering the propeller and shaft, which adds extra protection there. And so you can imagine you're sailing across the Pacific Ocean and you hit, let's say, some huge tree trunk. You really want a full keel so it's not kind of slipping under the boat and then smashing into your rudder and taking your rudder off, which can be quite catastrophic. And let's see, maybe a couple other. I did look at center cockpit sailboats, which were quite interesting. This is a picture of the aft cabin of a center cockpit boat. So you get a full bed and a kind of window in the back. So that was really attractive, but I ended up deciding I didn't like the way the boats looked. They were very kind of top heavy looking boats, and it kind of this benefit didn't outweigh some of the other negatives that came with the center cockpit. And then another kind of design feature inside, some of them have these kind of traditional classic V berths in the front, and I don't find those very comfortable. I like a full bed, and so having more of a Pullman style, I believe they're called, kind of full bed in the forward cabin was something I started to really have a preference for. So hopefully that gives you kind of just a little bit of a flavor for the types of things that I learned that were really going to be important to me in the boat I purchased, as I went and visited those 30 or 40 sailboats over about a year period in 2024. And ultimately, what that allowed me to do is kind of look at all these different criteria. I should note there was a lot more than this few I just went through. So if anybody wants me to do a deep dive and cover, all the different criteria I identify, let me know. Drop me a note in the comments, and I'll follow up with a video on that. But basically, all the criteria that I was able to develop with that year really kind of triangulated together to point me towards the Island Packet sailboat as being the boat that I really wanted to be purchasing, and particularly the IP 420. And I'll have a video give you a tour of the boat as well, and I'll go into more detail about some of the things I really like about it. So as I went into July of 2025, I really was getting just focused on the financial aspects of my planning, trying to figure out now that I knew what boat I was going to get or wanted to get. I had a better understanding of how much it was going to cost, and so worked with a financial planner a little bit and started to look at the financing of it. And I actually created a video back in July of 2025 speaking to some of that and talking about kind of the different options I was facing. So let me show that, take a look at it. And I've also worked my financial planner a bit more, and based on that, it's looking like a year from now, basically, when my daughter is starting her senior year in college, my son's starting his junior year, would probably be the first point in time I could actually go out and buy the boat. Probably having to take out a bigger loan that I paid back then over the next few years. So it's probably a little bit safer for me to wait 2 years from now. So I'm actually making the purchase. Kind of opportunity factor, really, as I've said in other videos, finalized my plan around a Island Packet 420, and they just don't come on the market that often, particularly in the price range I'm looking for and the years I'm looking for. And so it might be kind of a thing where a year from now, if the perfect boat comes in the market, I grab it, take some risk, pay back, we'll take out a bigger loan, pay back that loan. But can't wait to have an update from a boat rather than this spot, which is very nice, but it's not a boat. So it's actually really super surreal right now here as I just rewatched that video, because it's July 20th, 2026 right now. So almost exactly a year since I shot that video. And I'm actually on a boat doing the video from here. So it's just a little mind blowing to me to have that kind of experience. So anyway, as you could tell, I basically was thinking I was going to be maybe 2 years out before I was on a boat. But I knew that if the right boat came on the market at the right price, that I really needed to try to grab it, because Island Packet 420s just don't come on the market in the range I was looking for too frequently. And so that leads me to the wrap up here at the last video, which I shot just before I left my hotel room to go see sailing vessel Sugar Magnolia, or the boat that became Sugar Magnolia here. So let's wrap up with that video.
Basically, an IP 420. It's the boat that I've been, tracking and looking at most closely. Came on the market last week down here in Annapolis. It's a 2001. It's in very good condition, reasonably priced. And at least as of the Marine Survey 3 years ago, it doesn't seem to have any kind of large, major issues with it. So I'm going off to go see it this morning. Headed out here in a few minutes, and if it looks like it's a decent boat, I'm probably going to see if I can put some money down, hold it, and then go from there. I'm not sure, all the next steps and how those will work out, but I feel like it's I'm ready to take the leap.
So obviously I took the leap, and I'm here now on sailing vessel Sugar Magnolia in Kinsale, Virginia. If you're interested in following along my journey, seeing if I actually make it to sailing around the world in 2030, subscribe to my channel and give me a like. Hey, don't forget to give me a like and subscribe to my channel so you can continue to watch my Global Voyage Countdown.